To run the examples from chapter 13, you will need to have Node.js in at least version 20 installed. You will also need to have npm installed in at least version 10. That's usually coming already with Node 20 or higher. And then you will need to have Git in order to clone the example repository. Finally, what you need to do is just go into the directory and then look for one of the examples of a styling strategy that you want to pick and investigate. So for instance, choosing the default one, you might just go into the 13 CSS default directory. Now there are 2 micro frontends in there, and in order to run everything, you just run the run sh command. This little script installs the dependencies in each of the micro frontends and then just runs them both simultaneously. So if I do that, you see that we already started a command line utility and now we're running at port 1234. Going there in the browser, you will see that we actually got a CSS conflict. We got hello from red, hello from blue, and they're both conflicting here. Also on the pages, we get the red title colored in blue, and the blue title is blue. So the styling in general doesn't really fit, and we need to improve this. Therefore, if you want to have one strategy, you could, for instance, look at CSS convention and do the same here. Run the run script, which installs the dependencies in each of the micro frontends and runs it at port 1234. Doing that, you will see the right result. You got a red background, you got a blue background, and more importantly, the red title is also now red. The blue title is blue. And the different boxes here also have their own style, so they're also not overwritten, but they really have their uniqueness restored. So what is the CSS convention doing, for example? Well, it prefixes all the classes with mfred, or if it's just a tag, then it just introduces a new class for it. Same for output. So there won't be any conflict, right? Because we always have our class in here. How and what exactly the CSS convention is of course up to you, but you would need one. If you want to, let's say, avoid the hassle of setting up a CSS convention, some of the other strategies might help you. For instance, you could use a package called Emotion to create CSS on the fly, which will never be in a conflict, even though we are here styling an output element and we are doing the same here. This will not clash. So let's have a look at Emotion. Run the run sh script again. And if everything is done, we have the red title, we have the blue title, and everything is fine and doesn't conflict again. The same is true for all the other directories. Maybe one final thing to note is that when we go into Shadow DOM, that everything can look a little bit awkward, because we always need to wrap the respective component, right? So we always create a wrapper, and this wrapper just wraps anything that goes in there. The definition of this create wrapper is quite simple. It just brings in global style sheets into a shadow DOM, and it creates an anonymous custom element that essentially just holds the content. Now, this can be used universally because, well, it just brings in the global styles and therefore it will work on this. But the difference is how it will look in the document object model. So let's see that for a second. We run the run script again. It looks good. And as you can see, we got our tile, but our tile now has an MF Blue web component in there. And this one brings in the style that we actually care about. Plus, it of course has our Hello from Blue, the actual content. And the same holds true here for red. Everything's just captured in here, and we have it all in the shadow DOM. So from the outside you just see MF red, and that's it. Now, things might get dicey with a menu, for instance. The problem here is that we are making a selector that's based on a certain kind of hierarchy. Now this hierarchy is violated here. We don't get just an anchor, so we can't just use the descendant.